Hey guys, Agnard here. Thank you for watching our Polka Dot Farms YouTube channel. Today's topic is, should I bale my own hay? And so this has been an extraordinary summer with a very bad drought and heat wave here in East Texas and many other parts of the state. And so there has not been a lot of hay growth this year. We have had one good cutting off of this hay meta. This is our top hay meta. And then we have a little hay meta that we call our, go figure, little hay meta. We've not cut hay off of that. We actually have had to graze that for our cows. But what I want to emphasize is, you have to be your own judge, and you have to make the decision if you want to bale your own hay. Something that I considered, and I did end up deciding to get my own hay equipment. And some of the reasons primarily that I did that was, anytime you produce livestock, there is minimal profit or ROI, no pun intended, but there's very little meat left on the bone for you to pay your bills and do some of those other kinds of things. So that was the big point, is if you can take one less expense and absorb that and have that money come back in your pocket, then that's absolutely what you do. Remember, we are grass farmers, and we market our grasses through our livestock. And that is, if you take that mindset of this grass that you have in front of you is a crop. And actually, hay production is one of the top 5 crops produced in the United States. So, corn, sorghum, and all those kinds of things, evidently those are the heavy hitters, but hay is in the top 5. And so it is a crop, and it's something that we need to, that I recommend you try to manage and absorb some of those costs if you can. When you look at the East Texas area, to get a round bale produced, to have someone come out and cut and rake and bale your hay, it's anywhere from $30 to $45 per round bale in the East Texas area. Squares are $1.50 and up, $1.50 to $2.50. And I'm talking about the regular, not the large, but the regular size round bales, $1.50 to $2.50 a bale. So that adds up. That hits your bottom line. And so cost is obviously the number one reason why I recommend for you to consider baling your own hay. Availability. Some of those guys are, you call them up and, hey, can you come bale my hay? And, well, what size hay meta do you have? Well, I won't come out if it's less than 10 acres. If it's got to be 10 acres or greater. Or some guys are like, well, it's got to be 25 or greater. So that's a restriction there. When you can find that guy that goes, okay, well, I'll do your 5 or 10 acre meta, then they're 2 to 4 weeks out. And so it becomes a time issue. We've not had a lot of rain this year, so that's not a bit of problem. But so if they're 2 to 4 weeks out and you get, 1 or 2 good rainfall events in that 2 to 4 weeks, well, that's going to push your time frame out. And so you're wanting to get as many cuttings as you can. But if you're restricted, or you have the constraint of not getting out to 2 to 4 weeks, that's going to limit the amount of hay that you can get a year. Remember, you might have heard me talk about it in other videos. The idea, and now mind you, I grow coastal Bermuda hay, but the idea is that you're baling that coastal Bermuda hay every 21 to 28 days because you want more leaf and less stem. And so if it's prolonged, if that leaf or if that coastal plant is allowed to prolong 2 to 4 more weeks, it's going to get much more stemmy, much less leaf. So that's something else. It's just the availability and then the quality that happens if you prolong that cut. Remember, you're wanting to take control of your operation, and having your own hay equipment allows you to take that control. If you do decide to get into the hay business and cut your own hay, you have a couple options. Obviously, to feed your own livestock, or you might have a surplus of hay, and then you can turn around and sell it, creating a different revenue stream for your little farm or your little homestead. I know I've talked about this in the past. Diversify, diversify, diversify. Hay production is definitely diversifying from your livestock production. And then as well, depending on what how big you get, what kind of equipment you get, you might be able to do what we call custom hay baling and cut rake and bale for other people, for other people's operations. There is some downsides to that. You're off the farm, you have to load all your equipment up. You don't know what you're getting into when you get to a new place. I know that I have done some work on some other people's places, and I asked them straight up, hey, is your pasture clean? Is there anything I need to know about? Oh no, it's fine, go right ahead. And then you get out there and you run into some barbed wire or a stump, and it messes your stuff up. So the next piece that I want to talk about is, can you start a cheap hay baling operation? Remember, right off, the answer is yes. You can start a cheap hay baling operation, but there's always going to be a cost. You're going to pay for it one way or the other. If you buy cheap equipment, real cheap equipment, you're going to pay to fix it up or maintain it. If you buy new equipment, which I wish I was just independent wealthy and could go out and buy new equipment, but I did have to buy used equipment. We all operate on a limited budget. Decide what kind of baling you're going to go into. Do you want to do square baling? Do you want to do round baling? I chose square baling because I already had my little tractor, my blue Ford 3910. It's about a 47 horsepower tractor. But I decided that because I already had the tractor. Square baling requires, most square balers don't require hydraulic remotes to be installed. My tractor doesn't have that. And so, in a perfect world, like I said, I would buy new equipment, but I didn't. I don't. So I'm frugal, and which translates to used equipment. And so I went out and bought my New Holland 451 sickle mower and my New Holland 256 hay rake. I was able to get that at a heck of a deal. It was a combo deal. Bought them both together, and I want to say I paid right around $2,000 for both of those pieces of equipment. Then I was able to and I knew the guy that I bought it from. Kind of knew a little history on it. I then purchased a John Deere 348, which you've seen in some of my videos as well, and I paid around $3,500 for that. The hay rake, I had to go in and replace a bunch of teeth. I had to replace some bearings, and then it was good to go. The sickle mower was pretty good to go. I don't think I had major problems with that. Later on, a couple of seasons, I had to rebuild the wobble box, what they call a wobble box. I did not do that myself. I had a buddy that did that. Thank you, Max, if you're listening or watching. I purchased our John Deere 348. I did not know that I knew him until I got out there, and we actually went to college together. I got a little associate's degree in farm and ranch management in the early 90s, and this guy was in there, and so it helps when you know people. It helps when you know their background and whether they're shining you full of sunshine or dust. So I ended up paying about $3,500 for that square baler. It was missing pickup teeth and some other little things. I knew I was going to have to put some money in it right away, but for all in all, I was at right around $5,000, $6,000 in my hay equipment just to get into it. And then I ended up putting a couple more grand into upgrading it, repairing things, getting it to the level I wanted it to be. So when you do buy some of that used equipment, some of the things that I kind of look for is that I use to guide me is, try to buy from an individual or a farm. Avoid buying from these roadside equipment resellers. Some of these auction sites are really good, but they're just making a premium. Anytime you buy this stuff, there's a buyer premium, seller premium, whatever it may be. they're not, you know, you can't look those people in the eye, know where they live, build that relationship. So try to buy from an individual or a farm or someone you know. When you can buy from that farm or that individual, you can observe their operation. Take a look around at their other equipment. Are they taking care of it? You know, if they're just shoving stuff in the corner and jacking it all up, well, probably what they're selling you isn't going to be that good. If you have the opportunity, run the equipment. There is no substitute for seeing the equipment in action. You can see all the moving parts. You can see if bearings are rattling or if something's loose or worn out. Chains are snug or tight. Sprockets have all their teeth. Do a good inspection. A good inspection will give you a good idea of if it's a good piece of equipment or how much added expense and repairs it's going to take. You know, once again, like I said, when we got our square baler, I knew there was going to be some work involved, but it was going to be minimal. So once you buy your equipment, if it comes with a manual or parts catalog, awesome. Most are not going to. You're going to buy stuff on, you know, if you're buying frugally like I do, very rarely does it come with a manual or a catalog, parts catalog. But once you get it and you know you're going to keep it, hey, go online, get on the interwebs and get you those manuals and those parts catalog. They are, oh my gosh, so invaluable. You're gonna go through it many times. You know, all of these things are just something for you to consider. You have to determine what's best for you. I talked about some reasons why I bought my own hay equipment, why I got into baling my own hay. Just that freedom, that independence. I hate relying on other people. I also like to save as much money as I can, you know, put back into my program, back onto my farm, and take care of my babies, take care of my cows and goats and whatever else I may be into. So look, if you're still, you know, on the fence whether you want to do this or not, hey, look, if you're slightly mechanically inclined, you can do this. I'm not saying you have to be a full-blown mechanic, but if you understand how a chain operates, or, you know, you can look at a bearing and know if it needs to be pulled off and replaced. You get these parts catalogs, and amen for hallelujah for YouTube. You can find just about any YouTube video you want to repair most hay equipment, whether it's balers, sickle mowers, disc mowers, hay rakes, etc. I hope you find this video helpful. Please click on the subscribe button down there. Give me mash that thumbs up button. Hope you and your family are doing well. God bless to you. Ag Nerd out.